welcome to day 3 and the SheCom stage. I am the community manager at SheCom, and I have so much free stuff to give away on our stand. So if there's any women in the audience, we need to get rid of everything today before we go home. We've got Napoleon Petros lipsticks, lip glosses. We've got some CMY cubes to give away. So yeah, please come see us, come say g'day and take our free stuff. And it's my pleasure to introduce Gabi, who is the co-founder of CMY Cubes and also the co-founder of SheCom, to the stage for a panel. Enjoy.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Come on, sit down. Don't be afraid. It says we have 5 minutes left, and I severely hope that's wrong because I prepped for many more minutes. So thank you. Phew. I am hungover, but I didn't think I was that hungover. Welcome, everybody. I am really excited to have a great crew here today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start by introducing myself. You may have seen me around. My face is on this stage quite a bit. I am the co-founder of CMY Cubes, which is an educational toy brand revolutionizing the way people of all ages learn through play. If you want a squishy, come see me after this. We started in 2020 and we launched on TikTok. So we are a social commerce first brand. And what we do is we basically listen to our customer and we do whatever they ask. We have launched every single SKU based on what a customer has asked for. We make videos based on what customers are asking us to make videos on, including breaking our own products. That's one of the most popular requests. Can you break it and film it? And we pretty much just have fun with them. I then became co-founder of SheCom, which I'm very proud of. Our booth is over there if you want to come see us. And I teach people about all the things that I do and learn, which I also love. But I want to introduce you guys to these amazing panelists, and I'll let you start, Kido.
Thank you, Gabi. Really happy to be here. Just want to double check. Guys down the back, can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. So my name's Kido. I'm super into pre-owned clothing, thrifting, vintage. I actually started out at op shops. I used to go into the op shop, used to buy a couple items here or there. Then I started selling on Facebook pages and trying to, go into buy, swap, sell groups. Turns out if you stick with that for 8 years, the level that I'm at now is I move pre-owned clothing by the ton. So a lot of B2B. I have 11,000 feedback on eBay as well, solo. And basically just scaled myself. So a lot of the common advice that I used to get, unfortunately, I didn't have the resources to really action that because I grew up only child, single mother. I really just had to start with what I had and keep it pushing. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be here today, and hopefully we can bring a really good panel for you guys when it comes to marketing.
Great. My name is Elle Turner. I founded Sevas Water, which is saves backwards. I basically invented a way to save water at home. You don't really get it until you see it, I've got to be honest. Jump onto Instagram, Sevas_water, and you'll understand. But it is a product. I only ever wanted to do one product really well. We ship to the US and Australia, and we have a wait list of 15,000 people in Europe waiting for our product to get there. But yeah, I created a product that, I'm not going to lie, is divisive. It's basically a bougie bucket, and that really helps with content. And we have grown a very large following in 9 months, basically promoting the product.
Awesome, thank you. Hi everybody, my name is Petros. I'm from Sinch. I'm head of retail and e-com across APAC, and I love my marketing team right now. Please come past the booth and say hi to Santa if you haven't already. But a little bit about myself. So I've been in the messaging space for 15 years, helping out every retailer for all of their messaging, whether it's SMS, whether it's email, chat, and obviously contact center as well. So I've got a lot of insights and been plugged into a lot of retailers over the journey, and yeah, happy to meet you everyone and yeah, share some insights.
Amazing. Such a good mix of people here. So let's start with the name. So, ditch Delulu marketing. The reason why I chose that title is firstly, it sounds cool, but secondly, is because a lot of what I do is talking directly to my customers. And I want to hear from you guys. I mean, what does it mean to you to ditch Delulu marketing and talk like your customers? And how are you doing that across your brands? You can go in any order. Or we can start in next to me, whatever you feel like. Just speak whenever you want.
So when I think of Delulu marketing, I think of being out of touch with the signal that your customer is trying to give to you. The way that I kind of offset that personally is I spend an exorbitant amount of time in my TikTok comments. I spend a lot of time in my Instagram comments, and that is actually where I source a lot of the copy, because I think it is so easy to think you have all the answers, but if you go into your TikTok comments, you'll see how people really feel. And that's also a big benefit of being on Reddit as well. If you can really tap into
Reddit.
Reading Reddit, like you'll get signal you can't get anywhere else because people are being unfiltered. And so, yeah, that's a major source for me and how I guess offset Delulu marketing.
Reddit is such an underutilized tool. And I know we talked a little bit about this in WhatsApp recently, but Reddit is so powerful because they are so raw and real on there, and they will grill you or they will just tell you how much they love you. But man, you can get some great feedback on there. And the best part about it is AI can scrape it. It's one of the very few social media tools that actually allows AI to scrape it openly, which is amazing. Thank you.
I think Delulu marketing, I think one of the things is brands care far more about their copy than the customer does. So I think when you're trying to make it sound super polished and beautiful and elegant and that awful word I hate, which is elevated, actually it confuses people and customers. For me, you can't see what my product does by looking at it. It looks very odd. So I've found success to really just point out exactly what it does, why people should buy it, and it doesn't need to be fluffy and fancy. And I think that is probably the reason why I'm just really straight to the point with our copy. And exactly to your point, how customers are talking to you is actually how they want to be spoken to.
We don't really have time to fluff. There's no attention span anymore.
Yeah, I found that really hard. The founders I've worked for, my background, I'm a CMO. The founders I work for would spend so long trying to make it sound better and good and fluffy and emotional, and it just gets in the way. I just don't have time.
Has anyone ever got a paragraph from ChatGPT or Claude and it's like, that's really good, now rework it again? It's like, yeah, that's a great idea, let's rework it again. And you're like, and it gives you another one. You're like, how about this? And you're like, that's a great change, let's do it again. You could do that for about 500 hours and it'll keep updating it. And it's like, just get to the fucking point.
Totally.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I couldn't agree more. Like, I will go back to SMS. It's 160 characters. So just be short, sharp, to the point, right? Like, personalize it as much as you possibly can, of course. However, just get the message real simple and, remove the fluff.
And ditch the Delulu emojis that cost you way too much.
Yep.
I love emojis, and every time I put one in there, I'm like, should I? No, I'm not going to do it. So, Kido, I mean, Vintage has its own personality. Like, it has its own messaging. Literally, like, it's a universe of its own. But how do you speak to that community, especially in a way that makes them feel connected, that makes it feel real and makes them kind of want to trust you over other brands or other sellers?
So I'm not into playing short-term games. So I've been doing Vintage for 8 years. I've been doing content for about 16. I started making Call of Duty videos when I was like 12 years old. I think that a big part of building long-term, building scale, and just building a good reputation, especially within business, is just not bullshitting people, right? If people can trust you to say the real thing when you feel it, and that's like something that actually I get a bit of flack for, is like, okay, you probably said a little bit too much there, or you're a little bit too honest there, but I would rather be that there so that people know where they stand with me. And as a result, like, I've built crazy connections where I don't feel like I have to filter myself. And so when I bring that to social media, and now I can have, 100 people see that one clip that I made where I said something that I really genuinely felt, it's made a huge difference, and it reflects in the social media landscape and really what I'm trying to build towards.
But do you think brands are afraid, like especially in the vintage space or luxury space or if it's a higher cost product, do you think they're afraid of sounding too casual?
You go on now. You got this.
No, you should answer. But sorry, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also, as a CMO, always felt too scared because it wasn't my own business. So, you know, I would, if we were looking at comments and responding, there was a guideline to follow and a tone of voice to follow, and you wouldn't kind of be brave or take those leaps. Whereas now it's my own business. I'm like, I'm not going to get in trouble. Yeah. So, you know, and there's a personality to that, you know, that comes with the freedom of being able to just talk to customers the way they want. A really good example, some guy wrote on a comment the other day, he's like, what about my we? And I was like, well, it depends on your aim. And I got like thousands of likes. And my husband was like, babe, that's, you know, we're meant to be an elevated brand. I'm like, but are we? We sell fancy buckets. Yeah. Like, you know, so I think there is absolutely, and I do though think, obviously you've got brand guidelines and you're selling an elevated product and you're playing in the luxury space, but there is room for personality in that, and there's room for honest and authentic responses.
If I can just, so I also think there is an over-reliance on ChatGPT now where you can tell people use AI more than their own frontal lobe. And I think that it's just very important that you need to be the last 20% to actually work out whether it's a good idea or not. One way that I love to use AI is, hey, do you think this is a good idea? It's though I present my entire plan and I say, what's wrong with this? Where are the mistakes? Where are the bottlenecks? Tell me everything that's wrong with this. I'm asking for where I'm incorrect rather than, hey, is this a good idea? Because otherwise, you're going to get into a confirmation bias loop, and it's going to tell you everything's a good idea, and then we return to Delulu marketing. Yeah.
And it's funny because if you have seen lately on TikTok, a lot of the bigger companies have hired Gen X or young Gen Z, and the comments are literally just so unfiltered. Like what you had mentioned with, and how's your aim? Like big companies are finally doing this. And it's nice to see because there's usually so much red tape. But it's so true. You need to be willing to step in. And, you know, even that goes into emails, that goes into SMS, being honest with them, because my team hold me accountable to sending raw, honest emails, letting our customers know that we've fucked up or that we're fucking up. And it's never been a negative response when we do that, right?
Same. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I'm interested to hear, in terms of using social media across your businesses, are you doing anything creative to be able to help with your answering your customers and actually speaking like them? Like, are you implementing AI to analyze your data or your reviews or your comments or Reddit to change your messaging and update your messaging?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Look, I think it does get thrown around quite a fair bit. I mean, like AI is such an amazing tool, obviously, that we can use. But I think for what I've experienced is that if your data's not right, then don't do that just yet. Right? And that's part of that. And it comes down to the customer, right? So we're actually about KYC. So, you know your customer. So, you know, you try and find as much information as you possibly can, and then, you know, just try and personalize it as much as you possibly can. I can't stress that enough. You know, as much as you possibly can. But yeah, using those tools at the, I'll say, third or fourth step, right, is the best way.
Did you, I mentioned this on my panel yesterday, or on my keynote, I forgot, but did you see Carla Pencan's LinkedIn post about the text message she got from, it went kind of a little bit viral, about she went in store and she bought a top and jeans. Yeah. And she got a text message the next day that said, hey Carla, we hope your top, again, I made it up yesterday, but we hope your Janice top matches your Janice jeans, and you're going to have a fab night tonight. Thanks, see you soon. And it had someone's name. Like, she was like, talk about fucking personalization and talking like your customer. Genuinely, I mean, obviously you know how to do that and how that works, but I'm like, how the fuck did they know that those two items even pair? Like, let alone send a message like that. And that obviously changes how a customer feels about a brand, right?
Yeah, so I am actually not using much AI yet. I will admit that. I am in the trenches in my comments. an unusual amount of time as well. In that, though, is a wealth of knowledge, and that's what's helping me create viral reels that continue to just outperform. You put it up as a trial reel. Once it hits a mil, I'll put it on the grid. And from that, and the reason why they are going viral is because those comments are driving that, right? So, and the whole point is sales. Like, let's talk about that. Like, the whole point is revenue and driving revenue. And so from that organic traffic and in that organic conversation, that then drives to traffic, and then hopefully, you've followed your advice yesterday and you're converting well. But I think the comments are, again, what gives you the hint to what to create in your next reel, right? So I know that I've got 3 seconds, the first 3 seconds, to explain that this catches water while the shower heats up. I learnt that because people are like, what about the soap? And why don't you use a bucket? And, and so I was able to pull out all the problems and the questions that weren't clear in my previous content and address them in the next version and the next version and the next version. So you are learning. Similar in that, I appreciate AI can do that on a big scale. But yeah, I think the comments will be the clue to help with, and reviews, same thing. Reviews will give you the same insight as to why people bought it, why they love it. Then just turn that into content.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that's perfect, as well as like the reviews part is actually so vital because that's where you get most of your information, right? So choose the right channel to get that. But yeah, 100%.
I couldn't agree more. One of the lessons that we have inside SheCom, inside of our programs I filmed is, and if you're in the program, look for it because it's epic, is how to download your reviews, add them to your custom GPT that we taught you how to build, and turn it into messaging. Because and if you don't have reviews, I teach you how to scrape your competitors' reviews. Because literally what I've told it to do is create 3 brand personas, give them detail, like what they do for fun, what they do on Saturday, what they do for work. Because people will leave a review being like, oh my God, I get home from work and I'm so tired and I just go and do my puzzle. Okay, now I know they're tired. I know they work. Or, oh, my kids absolutely love this because when they get home from netball, okay, I know they have kids, I know they're sporty family, and it creates personas, and all of a sudden I've literally got messaging for my customers, and you can't get anything better than that. So you created a product that clearly solves a problem, that clearly nobody had an idea they even needed to solve, or maybe they did but didn't have a solve for it. You did struggle at the beginning to explain it. You said, go look at it. So how have you nailed that? I mean, I know you just saw it on messaging from from comments, but how have you, when you launched and when you came into the market, how did you portray your marketing to your customers to get them to understand it so quickly, to build such a huge list and grow so fast?
Good question. I think presenting, there's a few things to unpack there. So I think to be honest, we went viral before I'd even decided I was going to order any product, right? So that's the first thing.
Nice.
I put up a reel, it was 8 seconds, and it said, capture, 5 litres in 30 seconds. And it just blew up, right? And it blew up because people were like, half of them comments were, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And the other half was, oh my God, this is genius. So I have learnt to get very comfortable with that. Even today, I read through some of the brutal responses. And I'm okay with that because you know what? It's the algorithm. It's doing its thing. Thank you so much for that comment.
Thank you for commenting.
Yeah, right. And I'll engage. I will delete the ones that are rude, offensive, racist, all the things. But I won't delete the ones that say just use a bucket. And I get a lot of that. And you know what? On my homepage, there will be a slider that shows Sevas and a bucket. And it's like, sure. And my response is, you can use a bucket. Please, everyone use buckets. If you are living in dry, remote conditions, or if you're on water tank and you are watching your water usage, or you grew up in the millennial drought like we did, and you know El Nino's coming, you should totally use a bucket and start saving water. So I think for me, back to the question, I created that content. It went viral, obviously. From those comments, it really helped me solidify the messaging. Hadn't even kind of really built that out yet, but the bucket was a big one. That was obviously comparison. So what we were able to build a conversation about is, yes, you can use a bucket, but here's the reason why I got sick of using a bucket every day. And I did for my entire life because we've always been brought up that way, and my parents live on land and we're scarce with our water, and I watched her struggle, my old mum struggle with the bucket. She's now some of my highest performing content. Meet Mari. You know, she's 75. She struggled with a bucket. And that's why we added a watering can attachment. So this thing becomes a watering can. So yeah, I think we identified the friction, the pain point. I talked openly about that. I didn't deny the skeptics and the naysayers that say you can just use a bucket. Of course, you can use a bucket. They're $2. You should. Mine's a $79 product. So if you use a bucket, you don't want my product. If you have used a bucket all your life and you rely on saving that water, then you're going to spend $79 on something that removes spilling it down the hallway, tripping it over in the shower, having a really nice renovated bathroom and a really ugly bucket there. And I'm not shallow. I don't mind saying that was an aesthetic choice. And it turning into a watering can so I can use it much easier around the house. So I think picking up on all the comments and all the creative and all the pushback helped us redefine our content plan and our positioning.
You know, I just moved to a house that has a rainwater tank. It's completely off grid, and I'm sold. So let's talk after.
Thanks.
This.
Yeah, you can have one. It's all right.
But how do you portray this messaging without making people feel guilty?
Yeah, I actually don't mind a bit of guilt.
Okay.
I think I love the comments when they say, oh my gosh, I saw this ad the other day and now I can't unsee the water running for minutes, right? I feel guilty now. And I'm like, yeah, that's an okay emotion to tap into. I think that's the hook. The practicality of the product is what converts them.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be fear-mongering. I don't want to use the climate crisis as a push or I don't want, I think because I think at the end of the day, my product sits in between. If you could use a bucket which has multiple uses. My product is for those people that want to make it easier, and we do believe at Sevas, and I think everywhere, if something is easy and it's a habit, like if it's easy and it looks good, it will be a habit, and more people will do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really fine line with sustainability and really making sure that you don't use fear as a motivator, but certainly I'm kind of okay with guilt because that's why a lot of us, I think everyone should feel a little bit guilty as to how we live, but there's a limit as to what people will do and not do.
Yeah, and building the trust without making them hate you in a way.
Yeah, totally.
For all of you, when selling a new message or bringing out a new product or explaining your business, do you feel like it's more important to talk about the emotion or the practical uses of the product?
So I've always been transparent in that I didn't get into pre-owned and vintage from a sustainable greenwashing perspective. I was here to generate a profit. I grew up lower socioeconomic, so I was already at the thrift store. So if you've been following, TikTok and really the progression of the perception of secondhand, it has fundamentally changed from when I was a kid. It used to be for, lower class. It wasn't cool. It wasn't expensive. You go and get, $2 T-shirt and be happy with this. This shirt right now is like $2. I had it for like 3 years. And so for me to then be in that industry and then watch it get cooler and cooler, and now people, vintage shops are opening everywhere. I built a website, australianvintagemap.com.au, and I mapped out 100 vintage stores. And I was thinking about 10 years ago, that was definitely not the numbers. And so we're also seeing the rise of, social commerce. We're seeing the rise of live selling platforms, and that's really pushing secondhand shopping. So for me, I guess, the sustainability aspect is an awesome side benefit of what I do, but I've never led with that. I've led with, hey, I want to build a great business. I want to build great connections, and then, work on that day by day.
I love that. And I think, Petros, when we're sending our SMSs, we don't really have room for either. And so I'm thinking about how you even portray what you're trying to portray in a text message. There's no room to waffle. We just need to get to the point. But, you've got amazing insight into what works. If I could just steal all that data, that would be great to understand what the best-selling SMSs are. But for you, what do you see as the highest converting messages? Sometimes you feel like you do want to explain, but you just don't have the space to do that. So what works?
Yeah, look, it's interesting, right? Because there's a few ways, but one of the biggest ones that we see is around aftercare, and it's returning of customers. So it's so important to go through the customer journey, personalize it. It's not just about saying their first name, right, in the text. It's about your example earlier, right, about this top and this and matching and, you know, hope you have an awesome night out. Like, keeping them on the journey, but keeping them engaged, right? Like, everybody remembers, you know, their best customer experience, right? And they remember the brand based off that. And it's about the aftercare. So I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and it was kind of, don't know why I referenced it this way, but it was, you know, everybody did rollerblading, doesn't mean you have to, right? And it's sort of like, you know, you might get injured or you might fall off or whatever, but it doesn't mean that you have to just blast out SMS all the time. And you really should be sort of tailored and really keep them engaged, right? There are some brands out there that are our customers that works quite well for them as far as ROI goes and all of that. And that's fantastic. But it's about that aftercare, right? And I'm not talking necessarily just about an NPS or anything like that, but just keeping them engaged with the brand. And yeah, that by far has been, yeah, brand awareness. And after that also, then your personalization journey for your customers is a lot easier as well.
Yeah, because it's so easy to just want to just blast, like just go ham and be like, everybody buy this, or just use it for discounting and just promotion, which we do at CMY Cubes. We do for awareness. We do for, you know, we've got something exciting, but it's so easy to forget what it's actually really useful for. So that's really good insight. What are some mistakes that you see?
Yeah, no first name, no personalization.
I got one from a big company the other day. I won't name and shame them. They wouldn't be here. They're huge. And I got high name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually
Blasphemy,
died.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
Yeah, that person is going to be fired.
Yeah.
It's probably like 100,000 people on that list.
Yeah, no. Look, and it happens, right? Like, you know, like there is those errors, but then there's also, yeah, the lack of personalization. And look, blasting does have its place. Obviously, we have, you know, Black Fridays and Cyber Mondays and all the sort of sale periods as well, right? But yeah, a lot of the mistakes is the lack of personalization, right? And also, something is so simple, right? And it's actually the time of day that you send out your campaigns.
Yeah, okay.
Like the data is there, you know, and I can talk about SMS for a while, right? And obviously messaging, and I'm obviously going to be biased. But yeah, the time of day, and I'm happy to share this now, it's basically either 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. is the best time to send an SMS, because the idea is that what's that?
Take notes.
Oh yeah, yeah. The idea is that you've just started work in the morning. Let's say 8:30, 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock comes around. It's basically time for coffee. You know, time for a bit of a Tim Tam, bit of a doom scroll, right? So you know you need that distraction. So you know that 10 to 10:30 a.m. shoot your campaign out, right? And you'll get the most engagement. And then 3 p.m. exactly the same thing. Right, and I can't remember the brand now for the. They did the soups. It was 3:30itis. If you guys remember those ads, I might be a bit too old, but basically it's the same thing. You're a bit hungry. It's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock nearly. Time to knock off soon. I'm a bit bored. So you know, just things like that, just to sort of keep in mind, and a really nice reminder of that.
That's awesome. I'm definitely stealing that. Any more data you want to give us? Anything else you see? That's really awesome. I think what I love about social media these days, and I mean, just talking to everyone in the industry, is that we're so willing to share data and information about what works. I'm very blunt and brutal with what I see that doesn't work. And when someone says to me, can you do an audit or review? I'm like, oh, like, this is all wrong. Something that I see really often is really curated social media, like really beautiful templates on SMS, in email, and just like feeds that are all color-coded and videos that are just, yeah.
Just so you know, my feed breaks my heart. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an old school. I love a curated, beautiful feed. Oh, gosh, I really miss it, but it doesn't convert.
No.
And I also went through a phase of putting beautiful pictures on the front, so it still looked really nice. But how annoying is it when you see a reel or you see a content and you go back on a brand and you see it and you want to go back and look for it, and you cannot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good good tricks. It makes
Yeah.
you go into all of them. But yeah, I miss a good curated feed, but it doesn't convert.
No, it doesn't. And when I go into some big brands and I'm like looking at their feeds, I'm like, oh, they clearly haven't hired in the social media team for many years because they're still posting perfect model pictures of babies. And I'm like, what? But where do you guys think that it starts to really hurt clarity for your customer, like for them to actually understand what you do?
I mean, for me, it's, again, I hate to say it, it's still in the first 3 seconds, right? So I did a trial reel last Friday, and I did 2 of them. I changed the first second, right? I just changed 1 second at the beginning. The one is now sitting on the grid. It's at 3.5 million views.
Yeah.
The other one is still sitting in the trials folder, and it's on 9,800.
Yeah. Wait, did you write that somewhere? Did you post about it somewhere? I feel like
No.
somebody shared this with me recently.
I don't know.
That's genius.
It's only on Friday.
Yeah, okay.
But the point is, it's 1 second. So all that was different, just so you know, in the other one, it said, this watering can fills up in the shower. And I actually took that hook from an article we had that said, this genius watering can. And then I was like, oh my God, have I invented a watering can? And I wasn't, anyway, cue the identity crisis. But I think in the first few seconds, I think if you try and make it beautiful, if it's not really clear, you will lose them. Our attention span is gone, right? And the other thing is Instagram has changed. So it's no longer counting views as people that just swipe past. They are only now counting those views if you stop, pause, tap, and engage. And that's been another big thing that's changed. So yeah, I think it's all about the first few seconds of content. Yeah. And even take that to your website, the PDP. In that first few sentences of your PDP in your description, what is it, what does it do, and why do they need it?
So I really love reading old books, and so I was learning from this guy named Ogilvy, and he's basically like the godfather of advertising. And back in the day, he used to say, I'm paraphrasing, of course, he used to say, once you've written your headline, you've spent 80% of your advertising dollar. So you have to nail the headline. Now, the modern adaptation, which I've kind of stolen and repurposed, is once you've written your hook, you have written once you've written your hook, you have spent 80% of your audience's attention span. So if you can nail that hook in 3 seconds, and sometimes it is as simple as, for me, like the reels that have performed the best have been 7 words or less in the hook. It has to be so simple. The moment you overcomplicate the beginning, people are like, look, this is too much. And I think it is a big thing of thinking about the audience. Where are they consuming it? Are they watching on the bus? Are they at work? Are they, they've just finished a big day? Like, you really do have to factor in, okay, I'm looking at how I consume social media, and it's like, if it takes too long for me to get it, I'm not going to sit there and watch it.
Right.
And I actually think that has less to do with clip length as well. Like, I do see short clips go crazy, as Elle has said. But recently I also had a clip that it was like 2 minutes and 16 seconds that got like 60,000 views, but it was hitting the exact audience that I wanted it to hit. And I think there is nuance to, if you can direct the content and really write that hook properly, that you can get it to the right people, and the algo will do the rest of the work for you.
100%. 100%. And if you saw me speak yesterday, I talked about the hook a lot, but I talked about the different ways you can hook in education, adding value through empathy, or you can also entertain. And so if you pick one of the 3, you can do it in so many different ways. But one way I love to do it is just by telling AI what my ideas are, or we can give AI the audience data from the reviews, and then we can ask it to give me like 50 really controversial hooks, and it'll create ones that actually sound crazy, but they're just hooks. And unfortunately, we are in the world of clickbaiting because people do not have the attention span, and it's so important to capture that first 3 seconds. And a really good example of that, if you want a practical example, is Hi Smile. If you go to the page, they have the hardest working team I've ever met, and I'm waiting for the day that they get a new team because I don't know how they do it. They are pumping out content, maybe 10 to 15 posts a day, with every single one of them is the same video, but the first 3 seconds are different. And that is all that's different. And they just pump it out. And now they've grown to like nearly $1 billion or something crazy just from going nuts on TikTok through hooks and changing it up. So you do have to kind of mix it up and see what works.
I think you touched on something interesting there as well. I think even when I started, so probably 18 months ago, I decided to really go hard on personal brand and actually trying. Because before then, I hadn't gone all in. The biggest thing I think I underestimated was the volume and the rapid iteration that you have to go through. So at one point I was posting like 100 times a month, not to hit that number, that arbitrary number, but to start with an idea and then create variations of the same idea in order to work out, because those minuscule changes can be the difference between a clip getting 5,000 views and 500,000, and you won't know until you test. So like I literally would say, okay, I'm not going to look at the views. I'm not going to look at the followers. I'm literally just going to focus on, let me do as many reps as possible. Let me test, find out what works, find out what the comments are, and then really just iterate on that. Because I think a lot of people, underestimate that volume required. And once you do the volume and you have that data to build on, like, it gets a whole lot easier.
I mean, if you go to any of the big brands that you love that are doing well on TikTok, to name a few, you'd have some really great ones like Duolingo's doing really well, Ryanair, some like really big brands. Scrub Daddy. Scroll down to their first 15 videos, and you'll see they tried everything. They tried voiceovers, dancing, like everything, and then they finally found one that worked, and they haven't changed it since. And they've just iterated, and they're all like that. I mean, I'm like that. Go to CMY Cubes and scroll all the way back. You'll see some of me in there. But it works, and you've got to keep trying until you figure that out. All right, let's rapid fire before we wrap up. One word brands overuse.
Elevated.
Now.
Easy.
Authentic. Best place to steal customer language.
Comments.
Competitors.
Yes, love that. Best copy mistake.
If it's not this, then it's that.
Oh my God,
so
I
AI
fucking
coded.
hate
Please
that
stop.
one.
Just
It's not just.
It's not just this.
Yeah, M dashes. Still seeing. Just delete them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I love it. Most underrated conversion tool.
Phone calls with customers after the sale. I think that, one, you can actually get their permission to record the phone call, but later on you can use that footage. Let's say they don't want that posted on social media, right? But you can use that feedback just for yourself to go, okay, these conversations lead to something. This is why this person bought it. This is how this person found me. This is what this person wants to see more of. If you ask those 3 questions on a phone call, that's really useful data.
I'd say after sales is a big one. So we get customers who have a problem with their plug. We go above and beyond on that, and we basically fix it. And I will pretty much end every issue with oh my gosh, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I've told everyone about you. So I've just turned a really unhappy customer.
Both of you are being humans?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a good
great.
point. Yes, just being totally normal and human.
Yeah, I love it.
Abandoned cart SMS.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Again, connecting with them, being human. Reviews or DMs?
Reviews.
Yeah.
Reviews.
Because I do a lot of content, I actually think DMs.
Yeah, cool. All right. And simple or clever?
Simple always.
Both? Can I be both?
Yeah.
Simple and clever, which is harder.
Yeah.
You've got to be both. You're a text message person.
Yeah, no, have to be. Yeah, has to be both.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Agreed. Yeah.
Both as well. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Gabi.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
I hope you guys found value. We'll be around if you want to ask questions.
Come and get your Santa
Thanks, Gabi.
photos.
Yeah, do that.